Ladies and gentlemen, Peak has returned! That's right, Murata's been dropping banger after banger with the art slapping better than ever.
You gonna make me act up.
We waited 8 years for Saitama vs Tatsumaki to begin, and it is finally here!
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for!
Chapter 177 reveals the fight between espers, which caused a huge earthquake around the anti-monster apartment complex, scaring those lucky enough to live there. And of course, another record month of monsters have appeared, which of course relates back to God's plan, using the increase in monsters to whittle down humanity's willpower, forcing them to search out safety in strength and succumbing to despair, so that he can bestow his corrupt power upon them, just like we saw him do with Homeless Emperor, Psychos, and the failed attempt on Tatsumaki. According to Dr. Genus, humans can naturally become monsters from a desire to transform into something else through their bad habits, a complex, or a burst of dissatisfaction with their regular selves. These factors trigger abnormal cell reactions that prompt their transformation. Therefore, the celestial god has curated the Earth's atmosphere and culture to make this occur more often. That is why chapter 177 confirms the records are breaking every other month with the numbers that appear. Further proof of this is of course with the monster cells, which resemble God's appearance. It's a virus cell that transforms humans into monsters upon entering the body. When a human becomes a monster, they experience everything that makes them lose their humanity, such as bloodlust, sadism, ecstasy, a loss of morality, and even rational thought, in which they will bend only on mayhem and destruction. This social commentary is evident in the Hero Association's construction of this city, specifically to benefit the wealthy. Humans do monster-like things such as forcing the poor into facing danger alone, risking more instances like Homeless Emperor, who would have accepted God's deal for power. However, this selfish entitlement leads to humans within the city to be more reliant on heroes, making them weaker and stagnating their progression to grow their human spirit as their ego blinds them. The Chads with the notification bell on would know that our analysis in the community was confirmed in chapter 176, where Fubuki declared that Saitama was an ascended human, and that the reason this became possible is because he trained his human spirit and adapted to his environment, which is an ability humans do best according to Adam and Eve. But since the wealthy and egotistical blind NPCs don't accept the idea of right and wrong, it makes them more prone to God's manipulation. It all links back to the end of the world prophecy that Shibabawa mentioned, yet despite that, the Hero Association just think it's a good idea to house a ton of dangerous monsters in the basement of a safe city?
That don't make no sense!
The battle of the espers rages on as Tatsumaki lets loose, making the main member of the Tsukiyomi, who I'm just going to refer to as Tsukiyomi from here on out, realizes he may well be at a slight disadvantage here. However, he has an ace up his sleeve and activates a capsule full of sleep medicine that works in correspondence with Tsukiyomi's telekinesis. He was able to do this by simply sneaking them in with Fubuki's daily beauty procedure without her knowing, which is when Tatsumaki realizes that either a Tsukiyomi spy works at the manufacturer, the distributor, or is posing as one of Fubuki's little friends. Seeing Fubuki in danger angers Tatsumaki, as she tries her very best to keep her safe, even if it's not always the correct way a hero should conduct themselves. Therefore, Tatsumaki stands down and adheres to Tsukiyomi, who then uses their telekinesis to bend her into a completely unnatural shape so that she's easier to carry, stating, "You have supernatural powers, you couldn't even see this coming, you have no harmony, it's no surprise that natural psychics lack balance, they are a defective species that needs to go extinct." Remember, this guy is not a true psychic. He is part of Tsukiyomi, an evil group that researches and experiments with real espers to harness their power for their selfish beliefs. This is why they wanted to spend so much money to abduct Psychos. They brought Tatsumaki when she was younger, making the situation personal for her as they tortured her, experimenting on espers to no end. She was a tornado of terror at a young age. Her neighborhood was genuinely terrified because they'd never seen psychic talents in a person so young before. Because of this, Tatsumaki and her younger sister Fubuki were kicked out of the community and labelled the Freak Sisters. So, due to being a problem child, her parents sold her to Tsukiyomi. Which brings us full circle back to the chapter, as these two fighting against each other parallels the real world implications of human versus machine. Which is better, the human that masters something, or a machine purposely built for it? But before we can get an answer to this question, the contained monsters begin their escape, which Tsukiyomi believes he can use to his advantage by killing the two sisters and using the monsters as a cover-up, further highlighting the corruption within all aspects of hero society, as it was them that made this deal with this corrupt organization. But in chapter 176, Saitama fell into their lair and, well, I think we can all guess what happened from there, really, can't we? This is when one of the new guys from the Blizzard Group exposes himself as the traitor that drugged Fubuki behind the scenes. However, before they can leave everyone to die, Saitama barges through, annihilating all the monsters along the way as Tatsumaki breaks free from her binding. She demonstrates her true power and why she is regarded as the strongest Esper on the planet, as she uses her powers to copy the wavelength of her enemy's telekinetic signals, warning Fubuki that what she is going to do will hurt, but consider it a punishment for ignoring her warnings. By copying the wavelengths, she was able to find any objects it would react to. From there, she was able to twist the capsule, contents and all, into the shape of a needle thinner than a strand of hair, surgically removing it from within Fubuki and firing it towards the leader of the group. Tatsumaki then just casually whips out a Chibaku Tensei to trap her enemy in so that she can wring out all the information he has about Tsukiyomi. And with the area seemingly safe, the Blizzard Group run to the aid of Fubuki, but are hastily stopped by Tatsumaki, who in all her anger furiously tells them all to get lost, as this has nothing to do with them. Once again bringing us back to their relationship and how their upbringing separated their outlook on life. Being segregated from society caused Tatsumaki to adopt a prideful personality full of confidence as she learnt to live on her own accord, whilst Fubuki went into the opposite direction, seeking asylum within others as seen in chapter 176, where she admits the yearning for acknowledgement, therefore betraying her best friend Psychos. However, to her disarray pursuing this goal, Tatsumaki keeps finding herself having to save Fubuki and blames her friends for holding her back. She can't protect everyone, highlighting that underneath her twisted methods, Tatsumaki is a true hero as she just wants the best for her sister whilst also keeping the amount of casualties low. However, Tatsumaki's bridled past blinds her as she's only thinking of their physical safety, whereas in order to keep her sister and the group emotionally safe, they need each other. This is just something Tatsumaki can't understand, as she's never experienced what it's like to have a true loving connection with others. The difference between this and the webcomic alternative is that the manga now reinforces Tatsumaki's thinking, giving her more reasoning for the next level hating. As in that version, Tatsumaki forced Fubuki to cut ties with the Blizzard Group just because and came across as a hypocrite. However, the writing in the manga has improved as now she has an example to give as evidence. The Blizzard Group stabbed Fubuki in the back, leaving her in a vulnerable state once again, forcing Tatsumaki's hand and to double down on her ideological beliefs of not having to rely on anyone, which she traumatically gained from childhood when Blast saved her and stated, "When the time comes, don't go expecting someone to come save you." As a result, she threatens to injure them all enough to the point of forcing them into retirement from hero work so that they can't bother Fubuki ever again. Which is of course when Saitama butts in, explaining that both sisters are just alike, as Tatsumaki's line parallels Fubuki's order to the Blizzard Group when facing Saitama. Give him a good beating so that he can never work as a hero again. Now, although Saitama may not admit it or even have the desire, his ship with Fubuki keeps on sailing. And you may be wondering, why would he get involved and help her? Well, this all comes back to Saitama's attempts to better himself. He may not admit it, but he needs friends to remind him of normality. humanity. Their relationship is often one-sided, as Fubuki is always interested in him. She was happy that Saitama ordered her some fries at the restaurant just to run away and leave him to pay the bill because he forgot his wallet.
Sensational.
But after this moment, Fubuki doesn't stop chasing after Saitama's approval. She goes to his house to enjoy hot pot with everyone, and since she found out that Saitama only sees her as an acquaintance, it's pretty obvious she wants to upgrade to at least a friend, if not girlfriend. This all links back to King's inspiring speech. He informs Saitama that he will not reach his full potential if he only tunnel visions on his power. To become the ultimate hero, he must ditch his god complex and simply become more in touch with his human side. We first saw this instance when Genos failed to self-destruct, and because of that he felt weak. Yet Saitama consoled him, saying that how his heart had grown stronger as he didn't throw his life away. Likewise, he is now saving Fubuki and by proxy Tatsumaki too, as he's trying to end their constant fighting because he understands that for their hearts to grow stronger, they need each other. Because what's more human than solving a family quarrel and making them admit they love each other? You see, it's perfect because Saitama is the pinnacle of strength. Nobody knows better than him that being strong doesn't solve your problems, but people do. And that is what Tatsumaki needs to learn. This makes even more sense after everything we saw he went through with losing Genos, even though he technically has no memory of it. But despite showing the most immense power we have seen in a long time, Tatsumaki will now face Saitama with her new power level. To learn more about the webcomic events and how this hilariously went down, you need to watch this video on your screen right now.